I'm trying to find out.
Absolutely anything.
I'm trying to comply with your wishes of evidence that is verified.
My wishes are very simple.
And you can't tell me what you mean by that. So I'm asking Google what you mean by that.
Sure, go ahead. Ask Google.
Well, I have done, and that's it.
And what has Google told you?
Everything I've ever presented is already verified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, can I really quick say something? If anyone knows anything about drones, like really knows about drones, can you meet me down in Curve's room? Curve, I'm going to use your room for a second.
Verified means something I've established the truth, accuracy, or validity of.
Established by whom?
By me.
Ooh, by you.
It doesn't say anything about some external part.
That's why I didn't respond to the whole verifying thing.
But this is why I ask you the question a lot of times, because you say it's up to me to define what I mean by verification. So I haven't even done that. I've given you Google. I've gone, all right, I won't do it. I'll get Google's definition. Now I've got Google's definition. You're not happy with that. Now you need some sort of independent body doing the verification.
Not at all. Not at all.
So you have got an idea. You have got an idea of what verification is.
This is a nice tactic for you not to explain.
I'm still talking.
What proof you actually
I'm still
have,
talking. I'm still talking.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, you have got an idea of what verification is. It's just you're going to keep changing that idea every time I meet its requirement. So you said, yes, because you said I could verify what I mean by, I could define what I mean by verification, and I did. And the minute I did, that definition isn't good enough for you, and you now need me to complete a different form of verification.
I'm not
the one that's in Google, not mine, but
I'm not talking about definition.
And it's your definition. It's your definition of verification. But you won't tell me what it is before I present something that has been verified.
Okay.
And then when I do, you'll just say, "Oh, well, that's not verified."
This is a nice comment you created, Jim Panda.
It hasn't met my new definition of verification that I've just dreamed up this moment.
Nice.
Yeah. It is nice.
Now, how can we verify?
Why don't you go back to 24/7? Why don't you go back to 24/7 and say to them, "Listen, guys,
how can we verify?
You know, we've all been demanding that things are verified all the time. Well, I've just realised I don't know what that means. Do any of you know what it means? Why don't you do that?"
Data that proves it.
Can we verify the distance to the sun?
We don't know, do we? Because you won't tell us what you mean by verify. But we're looking forward to it.
I'm not the one with the answers here. I'm not the Glover.
You're the one demanding. You're the one verification. You've demanded it multiple times.
I asked, have any of you guys verified?
You literally just asked for something to be verified. Literally.
Didn't I
the last sentence you said was that. So don't sit there saying you don't, because you just said it.
I didn't ask for verification from you guys? From the verifiers?
Stop saying it, dude, because you don't know what the word means.
Oh, because again, I don't have two dictionaries right in front of me in Google.
No,
right?
you just have to be able to look. If you say to me, "I'll accept evidence from you, but I'll only accept evidence."
You haven't given me anything, Jim Panda.
Shut up. I'm going to start that again because you interrupted me, okay? If you say to me, I want evidence from you, but I'll only accept evidence if it's been verified. And I say, "Oh, okay, what do you mean by verified?" And you go, "I'm not telling you." You honestly think that's a reasonable approach that I should take seriously? Fuck off, you twat.
I don't give a fuck what you take seriously or not. You're the one hanging up on verified because you know you cannot substantiate absolutely.
I know
the only thing you can do is say is, I know I don't know what said so.
I know I don't know what you mean by it.
That's your level of verification.
I know I don't know what you mean by it, and I also know that you don't know what you mean by it. Because if you did, you'd have told.
In front of me, I have an Oxford dictionary and I have a Black Law's 4th edition. So,
dictionary don't do you much good.
So listen, man. If you want to play Let's Define This Term game, bro, we could do this.
Go ahead then. Look it up then. It's spelled.
I don't need to because you hung up on it because
Yes,
you can't answer my question.
Look, I've given you my definition. What's your definition?
I haven't asked you for a definition for verify. All I said is, have you guys verified what you guys are claiming?
You said you
have you verified it or not? You haven't even answered my
said you didn't need to. You said you didn't need to give me a definition for verification. I could use my own. And when I did, you rejected it and said you needed it to be independently verified by somebody else. So
you never said that. You said it.
Again, I'll try it one more time. What do you mean by verification? You've got a dictionary in front of you. Look it up and read out what the words say.
Have you proven it to yourself without any reasonable doubt that it isn't what you think it is?
So you think that I say to you, here is some evidence that I think is true, and I actually don't think it's true. That's what you're saying to me now.
Christ, bro. Well, you guys are very complicated, man. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very
really
simple.
Not.
What you guys claim is true. You gotta let me finish.
Blab out a word that you don't know the meaning of. It's really simple. It gets difficult when someone actually stops and says, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" And now you can't tell me. A word that you probably use 30 times a day and you don't even know what it means.
Give me the meaning for it and or but without Googling it right now.
I don't need to.
You don't need to. I just caught you on your bullshit, didn't I? Huh?
Why?
Asking for I want the definition of and or but. I want the definition for these words if we're going to play the definition. It's the same exact thing you're doing to me. You're getting hung up on a word because you cannot answer my question. You're using this dirty tactic to win over your audience because you cannot answer my question. You cannot tell me we can verify the distance to the sun. You cannot do that.
You won't accept your evidence if you but, and I'll accept your evidence if you and. You're saying to me, I'll accept your evidence if you verify it. So that's why we need to know the definition.
I never said I would accept it.
That's why we need to know the definition of the word verify.
I never said I would accept it.
We need to know what you require for something to be verified, since that is your constant.
I don't require anything. I don't require anything.
So why are you saying?
I need you to verify your positive claims.
Word.
I have no positive claims. I have no positive claims. You do.
Okay, so fuck off then. Why are we listening to you if you don't know anything and you have no opinion on anything?
Assholes are here every day debating verified, truthful information. And I want to know what it is.
The truth.
Stop saying verified until you understand what the word means. You have
again. I have two dictionaries in front of me. Whatever you think means, that's your problem.
Read one out. What does it mean? That's all I'm asking you.
I don't play
it's really simple. All I want to know is what
I don't play these terms games. I don't do that.
You do play this game. You are constantly demanding things are verified. This is your game. Don't tell me you don't play this game. You want things to be verified. What does that mean? It's simple. How can anybody comply with your demands if you won't tell them what your demands mean?
Okay, here we go. Here it is, Jim. He's posted it now.
Copy paste, buddy.
So we can apply all of these to any claim you make.
He hasn't even given me a definition, has he? He's given me synonyms.
At this point. You guys are clowns. You guys just use tactics to get away from.
No.
You guys are on here literally wasting your life every day.
You're using
24 hours a day, but you guys cannot defend the shit that you guys claim is.
Listen, son, you run around pretending the Earth's flat. So don't tell us we're wasting our lives, okay? And you're the one that's playing the game. You're the one that will only accept things that are, quote, verified. But you can't tell us what that means. You still haven't given me a definition. You've given me a list of synonyms. That's not a definition. It's just words that mean the same thing. We don't know what that's supposed to mean, though, do we? That's the point. You're playing the game.
Nice tactic.
where you scream over everyone like you're so calm and collected.
Nah, man, that's just me, bro. I'm like that.
I can't read. That's why he copied and pasted something. If
he doesn't even know what a
definition
is. He's just given me a list of synonyms. How is that defining a word? How is that defining a verification process?
Why do I need to define a word for you?
Can you spell the word verify?
Because you're demanding that things are verified.
I haven't demanded anything. All I said is you guys verify your claims. That's it.
You're doing it again. You've literally just done it
again. Your claims, not mine, Jim. Your claims.
Yeah,
your claims.
Which you say, and you say my claims have to be verified, and I'm asking
you verified it, not me. It has nothing to do with me. Everything to do with you and what the fuck you think this world is.
All right, in front of me.
You're doing reversing the burden of proof on me because you cannot answer my questions.
Okay, in front of me is a can of Coke. How do I verify that?
You would be able to verify. Now I can't verify it because I'm not there.
So what do you mean so when you say verify, you just mean, like my first definition, something I think is true.
We're not gonna play this let's define this term game, bro. We're not gonna do
this. Use it in a sentence, please, sheeple.
It just shows how just blatantly dishonest these people are. Because they do this on 24/7, they do this all the time. How do you verify that? How have you verified that? And they haven't got a clue what it means. It's just a way to bat away evidence. It's pathetic.
Bat away what evidence? What evidence?
The evidence you want to accept as verification. Duh.
Verified or verification by whom?
Duh.
Right, you see, now it's by whom. You see, a minute ago, he was telling me, you can verify that. That's verified by you. Now, no, that's not good enough. Now, it has to be verified by somebody else. Some independent body that, of course, is not named.
I'm definitely not
if we ever did get it verified by some independent body, they would be Masons or fakers or liars or not trusted. So this is the point. It's impossible for us to provide verified evidence because verified will always change in order to reject the evidence.
Is verified evidence not what you guys claim is the truth?
If verified just means things we believe to be true, of course, everything we claim is the truth is things we believe to be true, believe it or not.
And that's what you say verification means, huh?
No, that's what you just said it means.
Did I? Did I just say that?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, okay. When did I say that?
When you told me that I could define it myself and that you were happy to go with with the definition I looked up. And when I did, you instantly rejected that definition.
Again, I don't know why we're hung up in words. You know, we both
because you introduced the word and required it. You introduced the word and required it as a qualification of the evidence. That's why we're hung up on it, because you require it. I'm trying to comply with your requirements, but you just won't tell me what your requirements are because you don't know.
Know what, man? Know what?
What your requirements are. Jesus, really?
Yeah. You know why it's hard for me to keep up? Because you've concocted an entire story around winning an argument.
I just pulled you up on something that you blab out all day, every day.
You do verified. You do this a lot, Jim.
That can't be verified.
You concoct little stories. You don't even know what try to get people tripped up to never have to answer absolutely no questions.
Just tell us what you mean by verified. Simple. Really simple, isn't it? All you have to do is say, oh, well, actually, what I mean is it needs to be checked over by an independent body of people I trust. That would do, wouldn't it?
I couldn't even say that because who would I trust? There's a reason I didn't answer the question.
Right,
That's
so
your own question. That's your own question.
What you actually mean is
the verification wasn't my goddamn question. It's about the proof and have you verified
it. It actually was in your question.
What Jim Panda has done is he's hung you up. He's hung you guys up on the word verification, so you guys won't listen to what I'm asking him.
Because now we're finding out what the word verification means, and what it actually means is
we don't need to do that because we all have Google in front of us. We all have. We don't need to do that. You all hung up on that. We don't need to verify verification.
You rejected the Google definition. You rejected it straight away. But what we find out now is he won't accept me verifying my evidence. He won't accept an independent body verifying evidence because, as he just said, who would he trust? So the only way that I can verify something, what he actually means is he's got to believe it to be true, and then it's verified.
He has to agree with it.
Right.
I gotta ask him, Jim. How does he manage to say so
right,
calm?
and that's why I tackle you on it, dude, because you're talking bollocks.
A ball of books.
If Jay was honest, he would just re-ask the question without the word verify. If he was actually curious for an honest answer.
Right. You could just say, what evidence do you have for what you believe? And then I could present you my evidence and you could say, I don't believe it because of so-and-so. But that isn't good enough for you. You want to be able to reject it out of hand without even looking at it because it's not verified.
That's the school of Nathan right there. David, you guys are good acolytes. Good acolytes.
Another brick in the wall.
Indeed. Agreed to smoke weed.
I find it very interesting.
He's too stupid to even understand what the problem is here.
I think so.
I mean, how brilliant do you think this guy is?
Because he's still demanding that I produce verified evidence.
He's as calm as a...
What is that?
He's as calm as a Zen master. It's incredible.
I just got in here a few minutes ago. I really didn't hear him that much.
We got the whole team here. Look, now we got Jeremy, we got Slick turning up.
We got Chemo recording. It's all on now.
Chemo's here, top man. What's Chemo doing up at this time of the morning?
Chemo's not a top man. Come on.
Yeah, no, raising awareness.
No, you're not allowed up at this time.
He's a bottom man. You know that, Jim.
Giving the evidence, raising awareness.
He's a bottom cook.
We bring you the facts, the figures, the numbers. You know.
Yeah.
Need to add the word dishonest in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. Are
you scared?
Verify the distance to the sun. Okay. Done.
And he keeps saying you can't. Yeah, we're hobby therapists, correct.
Let's hypothetically ask us a therapist, right? A hypothetical therapist and say, right? At least me, I live in a free country, man. I'm allowed to believe whatever the fuck I want to, right?
I agree.
We also have freedom of speech in this country.
Do you believe that?
But
he's not slick.
Even if people decide to believe in flat Earth, they're allowed to do that. Now,
I agree.
If we're talking to a hypothetical therapist, I think the therapist will ask, "Damn, these people are allowed to believe flat Earth. Hey, it's okay. They're not harming anyone. They're not fucking with anybody, so it's cool." But what's weird is some people that don't believe in the flat Earth, they seem to kind of hate the flat Earthers. Right? I think the therapist. I know you don't, because I think the therapist would be more interested in the people that keep coming back.
Maybe they would.
That would be more of an interesting case than the actual flat earther, won't you think?
So what you're saying is someone whose career is dealing with, essentially, for want of a better phrase, crazy people. It's someone who spends their entire career doing that. You think they would think that we, who spend our spare time dealing with crazy people, you would think that they would see something wrong in that.
Well, I think if you add that, also they go out of their way to go into a convention of these crazy people to socialize with these crazy people. I mean, I think he would be quite interested.
One person did that, and they aren't here.
Yeah, exactly, man. No one here went to the convention. No one.
Wait, what
Are we
convention?
sure that nobody here went to the convention?
Yeah, we know.
Are we sure that nobody here socializes with flat earthers?
Have you verified that no one went to the convention?
George went to the convention. George went to the convention, and then because he was getting grief, Stone went to the convention to sort of go and meet him and,
pick him up,
offer him a bit of moral support, basically. So that's what happened. And then I think those other two guys. Who's the other two guys? Was it MC Toon and
who's talking about?
I don't know.
Other guy, Team Skeptic.
Yeah, Team Skeptic. That's it.
Yeah. So there were basically 4 people in total from this side of the fence that went.
Yeah, and didn't Team Skeptic set up the interviews prior to it? And it's like they knew he was on it. They knew he was coming. He had set interview times for them.
I don't think he did actually, no, because he soon got thrown out, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. If I remember right, I was listening to the show. He did.
And George bought a ticket.
Oh, shit.
So you shouldn't be moaning about that. He put the money in flat Earth pockets.
Well, look, I've thought about going, but only if it's like near me and I have free time. But only in the fact that I like going to the zoo.
Was the food good? Did they have food?
Pancakes. A lot of pancakes.
Listen, man. In conclusion, all I'm saying is, I think the therapist would be much more interested in your side
up about that today. But let me explain it to you. Crazy people saying stupid things are entertaining. Adults saying really absurd, ridiculous, bullshitty things are entertaining. They just are. You are here to dance for us. You are. You're kind of like a chimpanzee in a zoo. You're just, a comical, organism for us to enjoy looking at and laughing at.
Old world freak show circus.
That sounds hurtful. Should I be hurt? Should I take that?
I think
how.
I think that
did I hurt your feelings or something?
I was hoping you'd be hurt by that.
Nah, man, get the fuck out of here.
Generally, my intention.
You're a dude on the internet, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't really take the. You guys hear me yelling and stuff because I'm real passionate, but I don't take this shit serious.
Well, think of it
you're
more
dancing
like
now,
that.
monkey. You're dancing right now.
We're just here to laugh at you. Think of it like that.
I mean,
I'm here as a therapist.
That's cool. You guys can laugh. I mean, but. In a weird sense that maybe I'm right, maybe the people saying the same thing that I'm saying are right, and you guys are the one wrong.
Can you verify that?
You can think of yourself as a sort of accidental comedian. That's
one of those really funny things that you guys say that makes us laugh. Maybe
of course. I mean, I'm trying to get down to the root of the situation. Every time I hear the same voices. I mean, you guys have a lot of time on your hands, man.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. No one in Flat Earth is a scientist capable of refuting the globe. No one in Flat Earth can write anything mathematical in a formula form to refute anything you claim doesn't exist. No one in Flat Earth will ever build a rocket to go up to space and show the Flat Earth.
What came first, the observation or the mathematical equation?
Oh, God. It's worse than that. There is no invention that would only work on a flat Earth and not a round Earth. Yet there are inventions that would only work on a round Earth and not a flat Earth.
Again. What came first? The observation?
We just answered observation. Observation. We just told you that.
Okay. Observation tested.
One would say that observation is pretty important, right?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, what did Aristotle see to show the Earth was a sphere?
I would just
in 354 BC.
What you observe, you want to observe it correctly. You want to get accurate observations, and then that data is going to be hugely important.
What does that mean? Observe it correctly, man. What does that mean?
Well, for example, if you look at an illusion, you want to make sure that you know you're looking at an illusion. If you're looking at something that's temporary, you want to be able to know that it's temporary. It's not a permanent thing. You have to know all the aspects of what you're looking at in order to be able to understand what you're seeing. It's very easy to glance at something or to look at something and think you're seeing one thing, but actually seeing the other. So I'm just saying your observations need to be accurate.
The observations don't always match reality.
And when they match something you can't affect, Jeremy, you have to work out why we see them in that way. Like the flip moons. The flip moons are a crusher for flat Earth. They like to say stupid shit like Matrix says, like the moon is a hologram and hologram stuff. But these are observations that I can't manipulate.
To know what the moon is, I don't know what the moon is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Do you think that? Let me ask you this: is that a reasonable thing? Do you think that's a reasonable thing to say to other adults?
It definitely is reasonable to be honest and say that the things that you look and see every day that you maybe don't know what they are, that you might have an idea because of what people say. Maybe.
I have an idea because of what I can see. I can look through a telescope. I see mountains and valleys. I see craters. I see something that obviously looks like solid rock. Why would I think?
See what it is, though?
Why would I think it?
Yeah. Okay. What is it? What is it?
It looks like solid rock. It looks like solid rock.
It looks like. I mean, that doesn't sound.
Everything looks like something when you're looking at it. Everything looks like something when you're looking at it. A mountain looks like a mountain.
Whoa. You're breaking through the fourth wall, Scott.
Just think about it like this. You don't go touch a mountain to prove to yourself that it's really a mountain. When you see a mountain, you look at a mountain, it looks like a mountain. You can see with your eyes. You believe there's a mountain there. Same thing with the moon. You look through a telescope. Holy shit, that thing looks like solid rock. It looks very much like solid rock. It looks exactly like, what you expect solid rock to look like. So why do you feel like it's somehow less informative to be looking at through a telescope than to be looking at a mountain in the distance? Neither one are you going to go touch.
In this hypothetical world of yours, mountains could still be touched, right?
So and hypothetically, the moon can too.
Well, hypothetically, 90% of the people could go touch a mountain right now.
Yeah, but people don't do that though, and they trust their eyes because you know why? The eyes work. For the most part,
people, not a problem. I don't disagree on you on the eyes.
Yeah, and you don't see a mountain.
I agree with you that we look up, we see something. It seems to be round, seems to be shiny. That's what we see, and we can agree. But what it is, what's its name, its ultimate shape, we can only assume it's round.
Well, we named it. So we give it this name. We're looking at the shape, right? So we see the shape. I mean, we can't do a chemical analysis with our eyes, if that's what you mean. Sure. That's why we went there and got stuff of it.
So they say.
Before I climbed the mountain, I saw it was there. I didn't think I was climbing something fictitious. I saw the mountain first. I was at the base of it. I'm like, this is a mountain. And when I climbed to the top, I was like, here I am at the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? So,
let me know when you do that, when you climb the moon there, buddy.
The idea that I can get to the moon is a difficult task, but it's not impossible.
It's a bit silly to just disregard what you see because it's difficult to reach it. I mean, exactly. I get that you're saying you would wish. I get that you wish that we could get there, and it certainly would be easier to learn more information quickly. But just because it's a hard thing to get to doesn't mean that you can not know anything about it or that you have to dismiss everything you see with your own eyes. I mean, you can be reasonable about it. There's a middle ground here.
Listen. I'm not talking about mountains being hard to get to. That's not the point. Doesn't matter how hard they are.
The moon.
I'm talking about the moon. The problem is
that's what I was talking about too. I was talking about the moon.
Okay, so in the mountain scenario, 90% of people can go to a mountain, right?
All right, so I'm going to say
not to stay with the moon.
I'm going to say it one more time, okay? One more time, and listen to what I'm saying. Just because it's hard to reach, just because you're not going to go there and touch it, doesn't mean that you have to announce that you know nothing about it, right? There's not an all or nothing situation here. You can look at it, and you can use your eyes to learn lots of things about it, and you can trust the things that you learn about it. But that doesn't mean you can't go touch it. Let's say you can't. Let's say I guarantee you, none of us are ever going to go touch it. Okay, fine. So it's hard to get to. That doesn't mean that you have to then abandon everything you know about it, right? Just the same way that when you don't touch a mountain, you don't have to abandon everything you know about it until you go touch it.
More or less, I agree with you. Okay. But since I know you haven't touched it, right? I haven't touched it. Pretty sure anybody in this panel haven't touched it. So, I could say that. I can listen to the stories and believe these people know what they're talking about for whatever reason. I can accept that, or I can't, or
there's a third. There's a third alternative. You could read the papers and the research and the words that they write and all the data they collect, and you could look at it all. It takes a lot of time, and you could look at it and understand it all, and then ask yourself: is this all this collection of material and information and data? Is this reasonable? Does this make sense? Is it self-consistent? Does it tell a story that makes sense to me? And that's the thing you guys never do. That's the thing that we have done to some extent, and that you guys never do.
Okay, can you elaborate a little?
Yeah, like just take something. Yeah, just take something as simple like the distance of the sun. Okay, you guys often will say something like, "Well, has it been verified?" or "What's the evidence for it?" And the truth is, the amount of evidence for our understanding of the distance of the sun is mountainous. I mean, there's so much evidence out there. And I've gone and I've looked at some of this evidence. There's all these major experiments every 7 or 8 years, the past 100 years. We've done different ways to measure the distance of the sun. About 7 different types of ways that we've done this. Everything from ancient ways with parallax all the way to modern ways where we're firing off like X-rays or radio waves off of it. And all these things are written about extensively. I mean, they aren't just jotted down like, hey, we did this today. I'm talking there's 70-page documents where they talk about every single step of the process, where they detail every single step that they did. They say all the data that they collected, then they analyze the data in very precise ways, and then they come up with their answers. And you can look at all that and make sure it all makes sense. And you make sure this isn't just bullshit that people are just like throwing numbers down. And as you go through all that and work through all that, you begin to get a sense for like, holy shit, people aren't just talking out their ass when they say that the distance to the sun is 93 million miles. Like hundreds of people have worked really hard over the years. People have dedicated their entire lives to answering that question. Like it's a lot of evidence out there. And you guys never go and look at all that stuff.
Scott Beach, doesn't parallax doesn't that involve the assumption to the distance to the sun?
No, it does not. It is a way of getting a distance to the sun.
That's what you took out of it, out of his entire statement.
Oh, no. That's what I was thinking too.
No. I just I want him to clarify that a little bit, but I understood what he said.
Sometimes when I'm reading through that stuff,
don't ever decide to make up your mind for me. Don't ever decide to do that.
So sometimes when I'm reading through that stuff, I just think to myself, this whole debate would just be over if I could just get flat earthers to understand that there's an entire body of knowledge that they don't, and I don't even think it's their fault. It's kind of a little bit hard to get to, but if you just learn how to get to the scholarly academic side of research and to start pulling all these papers down, and you start to realize, holy shit. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you there are guys, right, who at 20 years old decided they were going to study the sun. They lived to be 90, and every single thing they ever published in their entire life, all their life long, you see that they're just experiment after experiment after experiment designed to do things like figure out how far away the sun is. And it's real. Like, when you read the papers, you can just tell this is not the kind of stuff you can fake. It's not just like, it's not like poetry or something. I mean, it's like really dense material they really put a lot of effort into. And when you get done looking at this stuff, you're just left with a sense of like, science has been going on a long time. A lot of people have been doing it, a lot of really smart people, and the body of evidence they've accumulated is overwhelming. It's impressive, and I really wish I could show that to flat earthers more.
Scott Beach, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you name 1 or 2 people so I could research them tonight?
Hey, you know what? Let me go grab a list, because I just did this for the the housekeeping questions that Nathan does, and I just made a list for Babs of like, here's why it drives me crazy you guys never answer that question, because, and so let me get the list for you. It's a list of it.
Are you guys really trying to use that flip moon argument?
Oh, God. Go on. Tell us it could work on a flat Earth. Go on. Tell us that.
I'm saying if you have one person stand on one side of the room and another person stand on the other side.
All right. Try that, Jeremy, and see if you can do that and have those people see a round moon, a circular moon. You won't be able to, because you'll see an ellipse.
Well, it'll be flipped. It'll be if you take a picture of the moon, put it on your ceiling.
Yeah,
it's going to be flipped.
And you look at it from 2 different sides of the room. It's in the center of the room. Each person will only ever see an ellipse. It will never be a circle.
What if you're standing directly below it, Jam?
Then
you're in the North Pole.
Basic geometry shit.
Hey, Jeremy, are you talking about a flat moon or a spherical moon?
I'm just saying, no matter what it is, even if it's a globe.
No. You got to stop there. No matter what it is, there are differences. Yeah. That would be apparent. So you need to come to a conclusion, first of all, decide. Are you thinking flat moon or spherical moon? Or we could spend extra time going over all the reasons why they both won't work, but they're different reasons. At least some of them are.
Whatever one you want to think. No, whatever one you want to think.
Jeremy, put a clock on the ceiling and look at the clock from 2 different sides of the room.
Yeah, it's gonna be flipped to one person's gonna see it flip.
Right, but it will never be circular, will it?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It won't, mate.
Try it. You obviously need to demonstrate this for yourself.
Did you have any manhole covers in your street nearby, Jeremy?
Yeah.
And the clock won't be flipped. It'll be in the same orientation for both.
No, it won't.
No, not if you're on the other side of the room looking at it. If it's in the center.
But Jeremy,
yeah, if you're looking in the center, yeah.
Very easily.
I
look straight down on the manhole cover. Okay, it's circular. Now, start backing away. Back away. Back away. This should not be something we have to explain to you, but we will.
That's a funny angle, though. I mean, if you put something way up in the sky,
Jeremy,
what's up?
That's the point.
If you put something way up, crazy high in the sky, though, a circle, and then you back away, like you're not going to notice a little bit of
how crazy high.
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously
because it's close. It's close in your model, mate. Remember,
you can't do this with a bunch of question marks.
I don't think anyone knows.
You can't just leave everything open-ended so that, well, I don't know, so therefore I can believe anything I want. If you try to start filling in the blanks, you find out why you're wrong.
I'm saying the higher you say you took a picture of the moon and put it on your ceiling, yeah, once you start backing away, it might start not looking like a circle anymore. But the higher you put that, the farther away you're going to be able to walk away and still see a circle.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and it goes so far away from you that you can't even see it in your mind.
Right.
Remember that part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, yeah.
And there are some real-world numbers here, Jeremy. When the moon is at the horizon, the point on the Earth that the moon is directly above, that's about 6,300 miles away. That's a hard figure. Okay, so that puts some serious limitations on the height of your moon. And then when you pick a height, an altitude above your flat plane, it just gets destroyed by everyday common observations, dude. You don't look at this. You ignore this. You keep your head in the sand when it comes to these simple little things.
Right.
Why does the 6,300 mile away thing put limitations on the height of it or whatever?
The angle of elevation to it.
Yeah.
See,
Plus
if
you got to move it.
You would take 30 minutes to work with triangles, you would understand what this would mean for the flat Earth.
30 minutes is generous.
But if it's a reflection, though, you can't triangulate to it or do that triangle shit.
We don't. That doesn't matter because you know what doesn't. It doesn't make any difference. The point on the Earth where you see it straight up, which there is always a point on the Earth where the moon is directly overhead. Always, always, always. You understand that, right? Say yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. That's always there. And it's between the tropics. Somewhere from tropic to tropic, the moon is always directly above a point on the Earth. And it goes around a circle, just like the sun. I've already told you about the speed and how that proves the shape of the curvature from tropic to tropic. It's inescapable. But you won't accept it. You won't recognize it. You might not understand why. But it wouldn't take you long to understand it if you were open-minded enough to look into it and to be helped with that. It's very simple. The problem with accepting these things is it's game over for you, and then no more flat Earth fun.
I mean, whatever. If it was over, I would still come in here and fuck with you guys.
Good.
I have fun chatting about other shit, so.
Yeah, but see, Jeremy, you were so confident when you said, "Oh, you're not going to bring up this argument again," and now Curve just taken 5 minutes to dismantle your whole premise for why you said that, and you're left without an answer. The last thing you can say is, "Well, even if it was proven, then I would come in here." I mean, that's not facing what Curve told you to look at.
The moon being flipped alone, that doesn't prove anything. That's nothing. Just because the moon's flipped, that doesn't mean nothing. That's nothing.
Except you can't ever show us why that would work on a flat Earth, and keep the observations. But that's the part. That's the wall you don't want to look. It does mean exactly. It does mean something. This is the wall you don't want to push through, Jeremy.
No, the moon
I'm giving you real observations taken by me and a person in Illinois. So whatever they say, you know.
In isolation, absent all the other evidence and observations, what you're saying, you can say, Jeremy, but it's contradicted by common everyday observations and simple math, showing you that it's not what you need to think that it is in order for it to work the way that you're saying it would work.
Yeah, so something else is a good argument, but not just it being flipped alone. That's not.
But here's the thing, Jeremy. It's simultaneous observations of everyone who can see the moon at the same time. That's what you're not taking into account. These were just two examples. I have another version of England and New Zealand in the daytime. Slightly different orientation in England, same orientation for me. So the idea that you're not putting it together, that if we took every country in the world and did it at the time they saw the moon on the supermoon, it would be literally turning as you went up the equator, upside. When you got to the equator, it would be completely horizontal, as it's been observed to be. And then as it goes above into the northern hemisphere, it begins to rotate the other way, as it's been observed to be.
It would be the same thing on a flat Earth. This flipping upside down thing alone is nothing.
No, because when South Africa could see the moon, then places like India would be looking at the back of it.
Did you hear what Curve just said? That argument alone of the moon being flipped is not
right. And what he said was, Jeremy, is isolated, which means two locations. But I'm telling you to expand on the concept. It's simultaneous, needed observations to match your claim. Now, you can't even show me on any type of, drawing or anything where the moon would be, New Zealand would be, and all the rest of it. But you're just happy to ignore that fact and just stay in denial. Now, the idea of the simultaneous observations, or the calculated observations, or the, put them all together, we could actually derive the shape based on the angle at which they see the moon. None of these things seems to register for you because you're holding fast. But you're not looking at what destroys your argument. You're looking at what part you can deny, and it's frustrating.
First of all, I'm fully aware that there's no flat Earth map or model, so I'm not ignorant or denying it or anything.
Red flag number one.
After 6 years, it doesn't ring a bell, doesn't kind of alarms aren't ringing, nothing.
Because over those 5 years, what's happened is they've moved further away from having a model. In the beginning, there were people they would compete with each other for who was going to get the model first. There was Lawrence and Laurie, and there was who were those mad Christians? What's his name? Anyway, they would compete with each other for these models.
Tiger Dan.
Bob from Globebusters said he was going to, and Cammy, they were going to have a model.
Do you remember Tiger Dan?
Yeah, I remember him. Did he have a model? He was really before my time. He was sort of a recent memory when I tried.
But he was
Tiger Dan would have been an AE model, guys.
It was him trying to make the model that turned him into a globe earther.
Right. It's amazing, really. I was listening to Dell tonight, and he was talking about he was going through some comments and stuff, and someone had asked him about two celestial poles. And he did this thing about, I think the person suggested that this thing we do where, you stick your arms out and make little circles, and you look left and then you look right. And, and he was talking about that, and he was giving the explanation that he'd given for two celestial poles. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. that totally doesn't work in any way. All it does is demonstrate that he doesn't understand the issue at all. And he just trots it out. After 5 years, he does not understand that basic issue. And then I'm sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but I had made a comment on someone's video the other day, that Robin lifting the lid. And somebody else made a comment and said something to him about, two celestial poles. How does he explain the southern stars? And his immediate response was, just a single sentence or two. It works on both models. So don't try that one on me. They just trot out these lines without thinking about them. I wrote a response saying, no, that's the response to curvature of the Earth measured using the Eratosthenes method and the distances to the moon and sun. It's, that's when you can say it works on both models. With that, not for this. This doesn't work on both models. But they just blab out these lines. They just don't even think about what they're saying now. It's just repeat the line from the meme.
Did you at least thumbs up the video, man?
Here's another one, He wanted verification. As soon as we got beyond the verification, Scott says something to him, and he trots out assumption. It's just another word that they just blab out without thinking.
You seem to watch all the Flat Earth shows, man.
Oh, I'm an expert in Flat Earth.
Can you tell me what happened in Arwin's this morning? I missed it.
Well, I can tell you very little happens in Arwin's because who was it? It's Alan. Alan uploaded a video that he made from Arwin's show, I think, on Sunday, where he went through and just took all the silence where Arwin isn't saying anything and added it together. For his 1 hour show, there was 20 minutes of Arwin saying nothing. So a third of it, there's nothing happening. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny that he did that. And I've noticed that too, that Arwin will just sort of sit there.
Right.
I guess he's reading chat, but he's just staring at the screen. And you're like,
right.
Okay.
So all you guys just watch Flat Earth channels?
No, I've seen Arwin I've seen Arwin like 1.5 times, like max. I've seen all of them about 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes with snacks, Matrix. Sometimes I watch them with snacks.
What I do is I skip through Flat Earth channels. I don't usually watch them. Occasionally I do. If they do something that I like, for instance, that Event 202 thing they did a couple of weeks ago, I watched that all the way through. But usually I just, whiz through them to see what's happening.
You guys, the Globers, love Flat Earth more than Flat Earthers, I think.
Well, I don't know about more than Flat Earth, but as much as, I think.
Jeremy, the Globers give the Flat Earthers a reason to exist.
I give you guys respect for being able to tolerate the opposition's videos, because to tell you the truth, I can't swallow any one of your guys' videos, man.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier.
I can't watch a Bob the Science guy's video. I can't watch it. It is not because I can't follow. It's because I cannot watch him speak. Blah, blah, blah. It's
because you just can't bear to have your bullshit challenged and have no response to it, not know how to respond to it. It must be very disturbing for you, because every time you watch something like that, it must be
on the wall.
Yeah, it must be a really tough reminder that you've bought into a complete pile of nonsense. So I can understand why it's disturbing for you.
And what is this nonsense that I've bought into?
That you think the Earth's flat.
If you can't watch like a minute-long video that shows you some of the most intuitive shots of the Earth curving, I don't understand what anybody can do to help you.
I like Vsauce videos. He puts out some decent videos about weird shit that I'm into.
We don't want to know about the weird shit you're into, Jeremy. It's not
no, he talks about infinity and the speed of darkness, just all kinds of like weird shit that I like.
Right, yeah, he does say that.
But yeah, I think there's something subconscious reacting there when you watch or attempt to watch anything Matrix. The fact that you can't even listen to an idea that you don't agree with and not agree with it. I mean, you must feel like cracking your paradigm or something, and you're like, well, I can't. Something inside you is reeling from it.
Nah, man, not at all.
So I just wanted to give you my psychologist take on it, like you were asked for before.
But how can you be confident that you're right if you aren't testing what you believe? If you aren't putting it to the test and scrutinizing it, how can you be confident that you're correct?
You know what? You're absolutely right. Now, how would I begin to do this?
Well, I would, take anything. Take something simple that we hear a lot, like the horizon always rises to eye level. Right? That's something that you could check, right?
And you're saying that this would be so in both models, or it wouldn't work in my model, or somehow.
Well, flat earthers claim that that's what should happen on a flat earth, and they claim that that is also what does happen in reality. And I will tell you that they're right. That is what should happen on a flat earth, and they're wrong. That does not happen in reality, and we can easily check this.
After the black swan, I won't be doing any horizon measurement.
Well, with this, all we need to know is the angle to the horizon. We don't need to know, a lot, distances to it or anything like that. We just, need to take a measurement at more or less sea level, thereabouts. Doesn't matter if it's not exact, and then we need to go a significant distance higher and take another measurement and see if there's the angle to the horizon changes. And it will, of course. I mean, here's Flashburn showing us photos with it now. I could show you another one. The world record-breaking long-distance photo also shows horizon drop that's easily measured. Miles Davis has shown it in his photos. I mean, I don't know. You guys could easily check that, and you just don't. You just trot out the line, and none of you have ever checked.
So what does this prove according to you?
Well, I think according to you, it would prove that the Earth can't be flat, because you guys always say the horizon always rises to eye level.
So maybe it's not really flat.
It would prove, at the very least, it would prove that was incorrect. Yeah, that should make you start to question the sources that you heard it from.
Personally, I don't really believe it's completely flat. It can't be completely flat. We have mountains and stuff, so.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that, are we? If we were making a measurement to the horizon, we'd obviously do it where there's water. We could see the horizon, right?
The beauty about that, Jim, is that, the flat earthers always use water's always flat and level. So water's always flat and level was the first claim, right? Horizon always rises to eye level, second claim. No, the water flat and level shows that it doesn't. So they actually defeat their own argument by the premise that they always hold to. So
if you're
towering
use the
is not have anything to do with atmosphere.
Towering distorts the size and shape of an object.
When you measure the compression due to perspective.
If flat earthers are going to use
towering works off of Snell's law. That's what this black swan image is. Snell's law is allowing the light to follow the curvature of the Earth.
So if flat earthers are going to use the argument that we can see too far on our globe model, then mathematically speaking, I'm going to use the argument that we can't see far enough on a flat Earth. And flat earthers' own footage debunks that.
Mm-hmm. So we have a thing called the atmosphere is that a concession then, with refraction. You have to know when you see it. It's not looming in the black. The atmospheric refraction is allowing us to see more clearly. It's more transparent, which debunks your geometric horizon that you say boats go over.
No, because
so
you just admitted that it happened for a certain amount of time during the day. So how something that happens a certain amount of time, literally maybe in less than an hour, you might be able to get this strange refraction.
Can see it, man. It's a black swan. That's why they call it.
If it doesn't remain, is it a constant?
We're just taking an average.
It only takes one time to see
it only takes one distorted crane and twisted shape of a flat object and all the rest of it. and you think that is definitive proof.
Your math is debunked
in the
with
same
one
breath,
instance.
you
Yeah.
say that same observation disappears, and that's okay with you because you saw
Why do
it for a brief
takes
moment.
one time to disprove it?
Fuck off,
That's
man.
the whole point.
All this black swan image shows is that Snell's law works. It doesn't show anything else.
So can
Google
you give
what
me an
Snell's
experiment that proves how you can see things over curves for way like?
Yes.
You cannot. Not in real life. Not
Yeah,
in natural order.
There's a reason why they call it Snell's
Just
law.
so you know, this motherfucker is a po, and he's
No,
just here for
don't
fucking
just-
laughs
Can I
and
just say
giggles.
before-
He's not. He's
Don't
not
just
a real
say
flat
that if I
earther.
debunk
He's a
you.
fucking idiot.
I can't
And
debunk
I
you
don't
when you
think it's a
just
good
always
idea
say
to
that.
entertain him, but it's up to you.
So when we measure the horizon, we're just taking an average.
There's
When you
different
have-
types of refraction. They're not equally or any more important than the other. They're just different.
you have
There's
extreme
not a
refraction
zero refraction, as you guys like to say.
The thing that you
Well, no,
guys
but
seem
you
to
can
forget
minimalize
is
it.
you bought into Oakley's narrative on this big style, but we don't know. Hang on. See, I haven't said anything. Why are you laughing?
I think you just said I got my information.
We don't
from Nate
derive.
Buckley, but
we
that's
don't-
not true.
We don't derive. Well, you're making his argument.
We
silly
agree
argument.
with the same idea, but we're not
don't-
just
we
getting it
don't
from each
de-
other.
We don't derive the shape of the Earth by making observations of the horizon. It's
We're
just
looking at it
the only
observably,
people.
right?
The only people who try to do that are flat earthers. We didn't determine the shape.
Why would
of
we
the-
not use our observational senses to try to understand the geometry of the Earth? And it happens to
Well-
be horizontal. We call it a horizon, which is an aspect of being flat. That's rational, dude. Come on.
But not when you have so
Because-
many uncontrolled variables, dude.
We're
This is not
looking
a
at
good
it.
way to
The
measure it.
horizontal line
Because
that
we
we
know
see
there are things
geometrically looks flat. That's fair.
Because we know there are things like refraction going on that make
Of
those
course.
sort of hang on, I'm still talking, that make those observations very difficult. So it's a silly argument. The black swan doesn't show anything. Doesn't
It
disprove
debunks
anything.
the geometric horizon that we don't have.
Well, you
that
can
you guys have always
pretend that
argued
that's it.
for.
Well, yeah, we do. We
Well,
do.
how,
what
help
we've
me
always
see the
argued,
geometric horizon.
what we've always argued is that there has always been.
I've
We've
always,
always said
I
We've
agree.
always said that.
I'm right there with you, man.
Right. So we know that that's always playing a part. We don't
Of
have to
course.
get into Oakley's word game about geometric and apparent horizons. It doesn't matter.
I've only ever heard of the apparent
we've-
horizon.
We've always made that argument that there's refraction at play, and our argument hasn't changed. Our argument is there's refraction at play. It's the same argument. It hasn't changed.
But you used to say that the geometric horizon causes boats to
No,
go
we
over the
didn't.
curve.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Yes, that is. It's an ancient Greek. I've heard
no,
this
we
so many times. It's
No,
nauseating.
No, you haven't. That's a lie. That's a lie.
You're saying I never heard
Until-
that boats go over the horizon? Come on.
No, I did. No, I did not say that.
You
I said-
know.
No, I said what you just said is not what you've heard. And what you just said you'd heard was people always referring to the geometric horizon. That's not true. That's part of the black swan. It was when people were attempting to give a better explanation of that. Before that came along, people were describing the same thing in a different way and just saying there's refraction. It's the same.
They said they knew the Earth was round because boats go over the curve. That's not my argument.
That's one
Right,
of the
but
things.
that's-
So I'm not making that up. I'm just saying that's what I have
and
to
that
deal
is
with.
still-
But I understand that's an illusion. It's not really going over a curve.
No, that's
It's
not
called
true.
sinking
That's not true. You don't have any evidence to
It's sinking
that that's
refraction.
Boats
Well,
are going
that
over
doesn't-
the curve, but you can't make a distant measurement with this much refraction going on.
No,
there's a
I
difference
listened to
between
Bali say
observing.
there's zero
There are many
refraction.
observations that just cannot be explained by sinking refraction. You know?
Yeah, I mean, this is a terrible way of measuring the curvature of the Earth. This is a very bad
I'm
way.
not
'cause you have
measuring it.
What do you
There's
mean?
no curve. Why would I measure it?
Okay, for attempting to measure it, this is a terrible
I'm
way
not
to
even
do it.
attempting to prove it.
Well, then what is the point of the black swan image?
The point of the black swan image is that it's a flat Earth, and you don't have a geometric curve at all.
You using
and I don't even see it. We mathematically, geometrically don't even see it. So why are you arguing?
No, you didn't, because you have so many uncontrolled. You have so many uncontrolled variables that you cannot account for when you're taking a measurement of flatness or whatever the hell. This is a terrible way for measuring the geometry of the Earth.
What are the variables?
Well, refraction, for example.
Refraction, but also you're forgetting the most important flat Earth proof of it is that you have a thing called perspective, and the diffraction limits of your visual aperture of your eye, giving you a convergence at what we call the horizon.
What is the equation?
Converging and compressing everything at our visual limits.
What is the equation for?
You're disallowing us to see any farther than we do.
Let's
run with that.
You're just parroting lines from a meme that have no content to them.
There's no meme about this. Diffraction limits are real.
There is.
Look up at the aperture.
Right, but when they're talking about diffraction limit, they're talking about the ability of your actually diffraction limit.
I didn't make up those terms, man. I'm not just pulling out of my ass.
Right,
here.
what specifically does that refer to? The ability of your eye to
the aperture of your eye. Your eye accepts a certain amount of light, and the way that we look at it, just like the way we do it.
But that does not say that when things go below that limit of what your eye is able to see, that suddenly they become obscured by ocean.
You see a 6-foot horizon. If you're
doesn't say that things that the object disappears and is replaced by ocean.
If you increase your angular resolution, you will see farther. They're not really going over a curve. Increase your angular resolution, and it won't go over a curve. You can prove it on a flat Earth every day.
And how you
increase your angular resolution? There's no curve at all.
You have never once brought a ship back from behind the horizon.
I'll give you $100 with cameras. I'm just telling you. You don't believe me, but I got images.
But I think it's worrying that you're so mesmerized by.
But I'm not making it up. Come on, dude. You think I'm lying?
Show us.
We can prove this all day long.
Show it. Do it. Show us.
They have video with your the dumbass P900s that do this all the time.
Yeah, if you want to believe that,
come back into optical view.
I'd like to see it. If you can bring the bottom of the bottom of a ship back by zooming in on it, I want to see it posted. I'd like to see it.
I would love.
I'll tell you what. I will say this right now in front of everybody. If you can do that, I will give you $100 over PayPal right now.
I'll match that.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you $500 right now if you're a real flat earther. But you're not.
Bullshit, Ernie.
You're not a real flat earther at all. So I don't know why you're using Nathan's.
Kosho, no, listen. This has nothing to do with Nathan. Don't even drag. Oh, listen. We can see too far. We have possibility about the black. Diffraction and convergence exists due to perspective. Listen, have you ever heard of flat Earth data? Me and him talk a lot. We talk about convergence and how our eye can see too far. There's visual limits, but we understand the geometry of it. We have equations.
What are the visual limits of the eye? What are the visual?
We're not making it up.
What are the visual limits of the eye, and how have you established them?
Do you think that they have any? Let's agree on that. Do you think that the eye has a certain optical limit?
I'll give you one. I'll give you one opportunity. Hang on. I'll give you one opportunity to answer my question. If you don't, you're staying muted. Okay.
That's fine. I won't argue it anymore.
What are the visual limits of the eye, and how have you established?
Our eye accepts through the aperture a certain amount of light that limits how far we can see. It's not my argument. It's just the fact of reality.
Okay.
Our eye can only see certain far.
How have you established
that? If we're 6 foot high, there's a convergence.
Okay. You my question, so you can stay muted. Good try.
I'm sorry I kept interrupting you, Jim.
No worries, mate. No worries.
I apologize. I just get heated.
Yeah, he's deliberately trying to get you heated, isn't he? And so we'll leave him muted for a bit so we can.
So that final statement that he made also applies to telescopes, and yet we can see things thousands of miles away through a telescope. In fact, light years.
Yeah.
And yet, flat earthers still can't identify why we can't see Everest from, say, Central Europe or somewhere like England.
He employs other people's arguments that he rubs shoulders with, like Effie Data or Nathan Oakley. He doesn't hold them valid in any sense whatsoever. He knows how ridiculous they are. Effie Data is one of the most ridiculous people ever. All he was going to do is he was going to parrot Effie Data's bullshit about the aperture of the eye and of the how it's the same as the distance of the horizon equation, also their bullshit.
But isn't that the same for all flat earthers? They just parrot the same shit that they've got from other flat earthers. Someone like bloody D Marble comes up with some bullshit 200 proofs, and they just regurgitate that crap, even though they know it's been debunked.
Yeah, they do that.
It's been the argument for years.
They do that to substantiate their belief. He doesn't believe it. He's doing it to mess with you guys and get a kick out of it.
Yeah, the thing is though, Coach Joe, is Chemo's recording, so we have to win the argument, even though it's because Chemo will spin it to make it look like we had no answers for him, and you know this.
No, I don't. I have to severely disagree with that. Just because Chemo's recording doesn't mean that you're compelled to argue with this fake flat earther.
Well, he's recorded me and put me up online, and actually cut off the first part of my argument where I destroyed him, and then put the rest of it. So I'm not going to put it past him. He brought up the Black Swan for a rehash. We're not going to go there. We're not going to allow it.
Well, you just I still wouldn't argue with a fake flat earther just because Chemo's recording it. That's actually less of a reason to do it.
We have our reasons.
I booted him anyway. I'm sure he'll find his way back.
I noticed Chemo was on
to play with for a bit.
QE's panel the other day, and they were talking about this whole thing. Chemo basically turned around and said, well, no Globetar wants to have that argument anymore because they know that they've been beaten. And it's like, the fact is, it's been so thoroughly debunked that because they're still presenting the same argument, nobody's interested in re-debunking the same argument. I mean, many of the popular streamers that are, debunkers have posted the details, the videos of why it's wrong. And instead of just saying, okay, let's come up with a new argument, they're just rehashing the old one and saying, see, you can't debunk it, and ignoring the evidence. And this is the typical flat earther way of fighting an argument, isn't it? Is to basically deny the until they see fit to come up with a new.
Yeah, exactly. The reason we deal with it is because the flat earth is coming along, like, oh, this is a great, and they bring it as if it's new or something formidable, and it's just like, oh, not this again,
Just a weird troll.
Yeah.
He's trying to troll them over there in Betty's server too, but he's honestly trying to just stay cool with him so that he can. I don't get why you would want to just troll people by looking stupid. Seems like a really
right
troll.
And he probably doesn't realize how stupid he looks. He thinks they're clever arguments that are, getting people. I think
that's why he gets. That's why he doesn't like it. He's like, hey, come on, don't do that, because he knows that. He's like, I don't know. It's like if he wasn't being so annoying about it, then I'd be like, okay, it's whatever. Like real flat earther or whatever. He's not as annoying as this kid is. But it's like if you're a fake flat earther, and you're gonna like, I don't know, because he makes the most ridiculous arguments, and he'll argue against anything that you say. And if he doesn't have anything that he's gotten from somebody else, he'll just make up some stupid reason to disagree with you.
Yeah. And then claim that Flat Earth has already debunked the globe without any proof, just to go round and round and round again. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, just to say that, yeah.
Yeah. And when asked point blank questions, he can't answer them. Yeah.
What he said the other day, Curved, he said like one of the most ridiculous things, but it's because he didn't have like the flat Earth argument for it. But he just said some of the most ridiculous shit. What was it?
apparently AT&T satellite dishes debunk Blue Origin rocketry. I don't know. I don't know.
He said that. Yeah, I was saying. I wouldn't try to decipher any of the bullshit he says, because that's the other thing he does. He'll say something that, like, what do you mean by that? But he doesn't make any sense. He just says shit. He literally just says shit just to that grasping at straws. But yeah, anyway, about that guy. It's funny. I played this clip of QE yesterday because he was being weird in his server, and I fucking played this clip where he sounded like a dumbass. And I just posted it in the room, but he's like, let's see what Kosho's posting. Like, he acts like he's like the big man on campus over there. It's really weird. And he's like, let's see. And he's like, he just plays it for everybody. And he plays the whole thing. And it's like him look like an idiot. And then he couldn't even say anything when it was done. And then I played another video. He's like, let's see what this one is then. And it was a different video, but it was the same video, but it started at a different point. And so he basically played the same thing twice for everybody. It was priceless because everyone's in there just laughing.
Well, then don't leave us hanging. Put the clip in here so we can watch.
Yeah, it's difficult without context, but you kind of get the crisp gist of it. I'll post just like a 10-second part at the end where QE looks stupid. Hold on.
I don't know if anyone has watched the 30 minutes where Chronic, who's in the chat now, was talking to QE about observations, and he started to try and run his whole scientific method crap on Chronic, and Chronic was just calm as ever, just answering the questions, and QE's like, fuck, like leaves. It was